So I have what is called seasonal affect disorder, where you get a little bit down during the darker winter months, to look at and enjoy the work of artists who feature bright light in their work. So today, our artist of interest is a Frenchman named Gustave Moreau. And he is one of the founders of a movement, a European movement of art called symbolism, or if you speak French, symbolisme. We talked quite a bit about symbolism the last 2 weeks, so I'm not going to go into a deep definition of it, but I will just briefly remind folks that symbolism was a movement of artists in Europe in which they created images about their inner life, about dreams, feelings, and ideas that are inside their brain and their mind, not necessarily about the things that they were looking at, although they would frequently draw from life, take notes in their sketchbook. They would spend time in museums copying the work of old masters, but then they would take that back to their studio and work from sketches. So they were breaking from tradition at that period of time. They did not work actually from a life model or from a still life. They worked from their imagination. And Moreau was one of the first artists who believed in doing art in that way. So he was a groundbreaker. I don't know if I should say this right at the get-go. I'm not crazy about Gustave Moreau's work. He's not my cup of tea. His work is what I call very romantic. And he uses images that to me are super sweet. They're very pretty. They're very sentimental. There's nothing wrong with them. And his skill level is quite extraordinary. He started drawing and painting at a very young age, and his skill was pretty exceptional right from the beginning, right from the get-go. So I had no problem with the fact that he was a master at his craft. He did beautiful art. There's something about his work that doesn't really knock me off my feet. But obviously you folks can form your own opinion. Again, I've chosen him because he does interesting things with light and dark in his work. As always, we're going to start with a slideshow of his work. We're going to talk about it, and then I have an assignment for you to do your own work today. Share screen. I just want to open up the slideshow. Let's do that backwards. Good morning. Okay, hold on a moment, folks. Technological brain freeze. This should work now. Yes. Okay. All right, here we go. Gustave Moreau, this is how you spell it for those of you who are interested. Angel, perfect timing.
Yes.
Many of the symbols in Gustave Moreau's paintings are angels. We are just visited by one of the
I'm not
employees.
trying to be fresh, but I was looking at one of the girls upstairs, and I told her I saw little angels in diapers floating all over.
One of the wonderful employees of the library who helps us all the time, whose name is Angel. Just walk through for those of you at home and probably don't get the reference, but I couldn't resist. Okay, here we go. Gustave Moreau, French symbolist painter. He was born April 6th, 1826 in Paris, France, to quite well-to-do upper middle class parents. As usual, we're having some technical difficulties. My slideshow is not advancing. Give me 1 second. Should I do an escape, Laura, and try again? Can't escape.
You don't see the mouse?
The mouse is not available. The arrows aren't working.
Okay, let's see.
Laura is here, our wonderful librarian, to help with technical
I hope
difficulties.
so. And you said no because
It
it
used
was.
to be completely frozen. Oh, well.
That's weird, Liz.
Oh,
I think. Okay, there you go. So arrow.
Okay, good.
back, okay, good. Okay.
yes.
Try those 2 arrows.
Okay. So this is a fairly typical Moreau painting. I should have mentioned that there is a fair bit of nudity in his work, which was typical of that period of time in Europe. He is considered an important figure in the symbolist movement. He was an influential forerunner of the visual arts in the 1860s. And at the height of the symbolist movement in the 1890s, the art historian Robert de Lavoie wrote that Moreau brought symbolism to the highest point in his painting, Jupiter and Semele. He was a prolific artist. He produced over 15,000 paintings, watercolors, and drawings. He painted allegories and traditional biblical and mythological subjects that were favored by the fine art academies. He gave a new freshness to dreary old subjects by a talent both subtle and ample, and he took myths that were worn out by repetition of centuries of being told over and over and expressed them in a language that, quote unquote, was persuasive, lofty, mysterious, and new. Female characters from the Bible and mythology that he showed frequently came to be regarded as the archetypical symbolist woman. His art fell from favor in the 20th century, but beginning in the 1960s and 70s, he was considered among the most paramount of symbolist painters. So there's a lot of detail in this image. I think the quality of light, particularly on the nude figure in the bottom right-hand corner and on the unicorns, pretty spectacular. The lighting on the river in the upper right-hand corner is quite beautiful. All of the objects in this picture have meaning in European culture. And after this slideshow, we're going to talk about the meaning of symbols at this period of time in Europe. Not right now. Any thoughts or feelings about this painting? Like it, don't like it? Why don't you like it? Two people are shaking. No, Angel's at the back. He's like, oh yeah.
It's kind of a dark.
Yeah.
I don't like the colors.
Too dark. Okay. Even with the bright light on the figure.
Yeah.
But maybe the picture that make it dark. Maybe the real one is not that dark.
Could be the digitization of the picture. Maybe the actual real painting's not quite so dark. Who knows?
Yeah, but still, since the color combination, it's not so. I don't know. Not so, yeah, not. Yeah, I don't know.
A lot of detail, I like it.
Okay.
Detail, a lot of detail.
Love that people have different opinions. Folks at home, anybody thoughts?
To me, the image, the lighting doesn't look real.
Well, he's a symbolist painter. He worked from his imagination. So I'm glad you pointed that out. The lighting is not real at all. So, and this is about a myth. So these are probably goddesses or princesses, or so the lighting is maybe coming from heaven or wherever. So the lighting is not real. He's trying to portray something that has a dreamlike or otherworldly feel. That's wonderful that you noticed that. Okay, let's move on to the next. He started drawing at a very young age. He received a sound education at a boarding school, but his sister died at a very early age, at 13, and his parents brought him back home to live with them, and he had a very sheltered existence. He, unique to all the artists we've talked about up until this point, was given encouragement by his father. And he was allowed to draw and paint as much as he liked. He, in the 1850s, he started traveling abroad and went to Rome and looked at and drew the old master paintings while he was there. When he came back, he started studying with artists in the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris, and he was hoping to win the most prestigious award at the École des Beaux-Arts, but he didn't win it. So he started working at the Louvre and other museums instead. And he started this group of symbolists. They started gathering and working with him. Again, the lighting is dramatic, but how do we feel about this picture? It's from his imagination. There's definitely a lot of storytelling and symbolism going on here. There's this decapitated head in the glow of light. Not sure who this figure is. It could be biblical, it could be mythological. I didn't hear you, sorry. Thank you, Heather.
I like it.
Welcome.
I like it. It's Susan.
Why do you like it, Susan?
Because it's weird, of course, and and you don't really know what's going on. I like the decapitated head with the light. I love the monochromatic feel to this, even though there's a little bit of color.
Okay. Certainly the lighting is incredibly dramatic, and that's the whole point of looking at Moreau today. I don't know. I believe it's a painting. I think these are all paintings.
It is a painting. I can notice the texture.
I don't have any reference to him doing prints.
It has a very, the line in it.
It does. It does look kind of like an etching, but the fact that it's colored, I'm not sure how much access there was to color in printmaking at that time.
That's what makes it nice.
Yeah.
It does have that.
Like it
line.
brings that.
Yeah, I agree.
The touch of color.
Well, no, the prints, the line and the detail, and it looks like an etching.
It does have pretty fantastic detail. Yes.
It's like John the Baptist after he was beheaded and.
That's what I think as well, that it's a John the Baptist reference. Again, folks, please remember, I'm not an art historian. I don't look for these images to help you understand the historical reference of the work. I'm looking for the dramatic lighting. That's what I want us to focus on today. Feel free to look yourselves if you want to know the subject matter of this piece.
It's interesting that the only colored figures are in the background and the highlighted ones are in the foreground, almost like it's a dreamlike quality.
It does. That's an interesting point from Alice, that the color is in the background, which is the complete opposite of reality. In reality, the colored images would be in the foreground and everything in the gray tone would be in the background, because things that are further away from us are usually duller in color. So that is interesting, and it does create a very dreamy, surreal quality to the image.
Well, they used to do this in film. There's a whole type of that's uses so many darks, so many lights, and it's very shadowy.
Huh. I did not know that.
Particular type of film. It's with expression. Expression. Use it for old films like Nosferatu. It's one of the-
Oh, one of the best.
Black and white, where they're going through stony corridors. They're going up and down stairs, and it's so dark. It's dreamy, like she said, but because it's so dark, it leaves the imagination open to like emotional. You have an emotional response to the darkness and the light.
Yeah.
You can fill it in. Instead of seeing every brick, you fill in the bricks.
Cool. So Donna is talking about how dark and light is used in film, and she mentioned the great horror movie Nosferatu. I recommend it highly if you get a chance to see it. Talk about darks and lights.
I did see it.
It's great, right?
Well, for the time, yeah, then have some artistic vision.
Well, we're going to talk about it more while you're working, Dina. Right now, we're going to move on in our slideshow.
I already get you the flip.
Okay. So he was a bit of a misanthrope, our Moreau. He wasn't crazy about people, particularly the people in the Beaux-Arts, because they criticized his work. It was quite different from what was going on in Europe at that time. This is a self-portrait, a little bit more accessible, I think, less dark in subject matter, and beautiful lighting. The contrast between the bright light on his face and the darker background, I think is quite wonderful. You can see his skill in this piece. It's quite beautiful, I think. Less disturbing in content. So he became more and more of a hermit as he grew older. He was reluctant to sell his work. At the time of his death, of the 1,500 works of art, or 15, was it 1,500 or 15,000? 1,000. Of those 15,000 pieces of art, at the time of his death, he still had 12,000 pieces of art left. And his parents had bought a townhouse in Paris. They lived downstairs, and upstairs was his. And he was a bachelor, and he painted for his entire life. He rejected a post as professor at École des Beaux-Arts in 1888, but then after the death of his friend Élie Delaunay, another, I think, wonderful artist, he agreed to take over Delaunay's studio at the École des Beaux-Arts, and he was an excellent teacher. Interestingly enough, even though he didn't like being around people, he became a superb teacher, and he taught many artists who became quite famous. Does the name Henri Matisse ring a bell? He was the professor of Matisse and Georges Rouault, two very notable artists who were amongst his pupils. So he lived and worked in this townhouse at 14 Rue de la Rochefoucauld until his death in 1862 from cancer. And everything was left to the state of France. The museum is still open today. Never even knew about it. I wish I'd known. I think I would have gone there just out of curiosity last time I was in Paris. Okay, so this is another one of his symbolist works. It's not a great reproduction. There's somebody trying to get in, Laura, and my mouse is not working to let her in. Thank you. There is a figure of a kind of princessy person on the divan in the foreground. There's like a make-believe city in the window behind her. This one just looks like, I don't know, Lord of the Rings or something to me. Yeah, it has a Taj Mahal feeling, Esty said. I agree. What's that show on HBO that's so cool?
Game of Thrones.
What's it called?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. It has that Game of Thrones
That-
feeling to it. Daniel disagrees, but I don't know. It's very jewel-like. Heather, I agree with the bright, shiny colors. There's a lot of gold in it. And as I mentioned, it's very romantic, very sweet and saccharine. It's not my cup of tea, but people like it. People like it. This one also is a little challenging to look at. The angels. So the angels were ever present in much of his work. Again, there is an Indian feeling to it. There is what looks like the Taj Mahal in the background, and then there is an elephant with a maiden
I can see why, because
on top.
I can see because elephants are usually linked with Buddha, with the Indian Buddhism.
Yes. And remember the last artist we looked at? Yes. The last artist we looked at was also a symbolist and had this interest in Buddhism and Hinduism. So this I found no mention of that in my reading about Moreau, but maybe he was the tip of the iceberg with the symbolists starting to inspire them to look into Eastern religion. But remember, the symbolists were very involved with mythology and all of this connection to myths and other cultures. And this painting really shows that. Tamara, you made it. Welcome. He greatly admired Eugene Delacroix and copied his work frequently. You can see that in the very heavy use of detail and the thick application of paint, very similar to what Delacroix did in his work, and also the very rich, intense colors. We're so hampered in the digital age at trying to get good reproduction of art. The plus side of the digital age is being able to, yes.
There's a woman.
Yes, I said there's a maiden on top of the elephant's back. Yes, she's seated on right behind the head of the elephant. Maybe folks didn't hear. We have this incredible access to as many images as we could ever imagine, but the reproductions, the digital reproductions, fail to show the work accurately. Okay, again, this is a very typical, this one really looks like a print to me. But I have to admit, there's nothing in what I read about Moreau that shows he was a printmaker. But this is very, very much an example of symbolist work. This is the kind of thing that they repeatedly did. Remember, they're influenced by the poetry of that time, a lot of romantic images of women looking off into the distance at the moon or the stars. I don't know what she's looking at. Lost love, I don't know. But this is what was done. All right, I'm gonna rush through now. I think you're getting the idea. The angel. This painting, for some reason, I like this one more than a lot of the ones we've looked at. You see on top of the mountain, way back in the background, it looks like the Parthenon perched atop the mountain. It seems to be a curious mix of biblical references and Greek mythology, because the angel, right, is biblical, but he looks like the young man, the angel is I don't know, caressing, is definitely in Greek garb.
Something I see it as kind of evil.
Evil?
Evil.
Maybe, I don't know.
The angel apparently is tempting this young man, so that
Could be. Could be. She could be a temptress. It does look like she's holding, you know, the Olympic crown that frequently Olympic athletes would wear when they won a race or an athletic event, a laurel crown. So she may be rewarding him for something. He's also carrying a shepherd's crook in his hand. So there are a lot of symbols and references in this painting that are meant to tell a story. But great, I'm loving, Daniel, that you're creating a story of your own. That's what the artist wants you to do. Beautifully executed. There's no argument that the man knew what he was doing. He could draw. Again, this one, I don't know, looks like
Is that a baby? No.
No, it's a young man in the lap of a, I don't know, princess goddess. Looks like, it looks like he's laying on top of bagpipes. Could be Holofernes. It's definitely from a myth.
I'm glad I thought it was a pop.
It's definitely an interpretation of a myth. Her face is so exquisite. I don't know what that white space is behind on the mountain. It's interesting. Don't know what that is. I don't know. It looks like smoke is blowing out of the bagpipes. I don't know. To me, it's less important what this picture is about, though. I am a visual person. I just want to look at the images. I don't care what it's about. All right, I think this may be our final slide. This is some kind of god with some kind of goddess draped over his leg. She's so overcome with his whatever. And again, it's so digitized. There's extraordinary detail in this painting. Oh, more an angel on top of a dragon. That's a combo. Beautifully rendered. This is a close-up of the first painting we looked at. Okay. So we're done with this slideshow. I want to quickly now just talk about symbols because we need to know about this for our project today. I have here, and you're welcome to look at it before you start working today. I have something called 21 art symbols key to understanding the visual arts, if this is important to you. Let's see. Nope, that didn't work. I do have to open this. So we're going to go through this quickly. Hopefully my keypad will work. So artists try to depict things in their work to the viewer, and throughout history, certain symbols have kind of stuck with us better than others. And things like eyes. Eyes have a lot of meaning. Here are some eyes in this chart that I put up. And eyes can carry a lot of meaning about the world. The all-seeing eye might be something you've heard of before, and it's a common symbol. Cultures have different versions of the watchful eye. In ancient Egypt, there's the eye of Horus, etc. So these are universal world symbols. Yin yang is something you probably are quite familiar with, etc. Here are more world symbols. There are many basic symbols that you see in every culture on Earth. The square, the circle, the triangle, the cross. The cross in our Western culture has religious meaning, but in other cultures, it just exists as a shape and has different meanings. Mirrors can be a symbol. Candles. Candles were commonly used in still life paintings to symbolize the passage of time. Musical instruments have been used. Music is part of ceremonies, events, and rituals, so they're an integral part of cultures from all over the world. Here are occult symbols. The Ankh is a symbol you're familiar with. Yes, the Ankh.
And then the cross.
This is an Ankh. It's an Egyptian symbol. This is on our dollar bill. This is a universal symbol. These are shapes and images that you see all over the world in a variety of cultures. Trees are a symbol. Trees are usually associated with life and birth and the center of all nature. Here are some symbols of immortality. I love the pear. And here is the tree, it's a symbol of immortality. The sun is a symbol, particularly in ancient Egypt. It's a symbol of immortality and life forever after. The sun in Baroque art in Europe is about royalty. The moon is a symbol. Animals can be symbols. Very simple shapes are symbols. The egg shape, for obvious reasons, is a symbol of fertility and life. Lemons, grapes, fruit is often symbols. The owl is a symbol of wisdom. Again, symbols of eternity and life, everlasting life. All right, why am I showing you these? The heart, obviously, is a universal symbol. We see it over and over again, and not just in European culture, but everywhere on Earth, and used frequently in art. Now, these are more modern symbols that are used in communication situations. The stop sign is a universal symbol that you'll see everywhere in your travels, etc. These are African Adinkra symbols. And some people think the Valentine comes from the Adinkra symbols. I'm showing you these symbols now because your project for today is going to be to think about shapes and symbols. And I want you to create a painting using symbols that tells a story about yourself and something that is important to you. And look at how simple symbols can be. For those of you who are here, all of a sudden there's echo. I'm not sure why. Everybody should be muted. Just a reminder. If you don't have something to say, please mute. Those of you who are here, there's acrylic paint, there's colored pencils, there's some pastels and oil pastels. Those of you at home, you can use whatever media you have available to you. As always, I recommend you work out your composition in pencil first. Have fun, use large paper, and go to work. Those of you who are here, I do have available pictures of angels that I would prefer you copy and use as a starting point in your symbolist paintings today. If you want to look through the 21 art symbols, those of you at home, you can find these on the internet. Very, very easy. You just type in visual art symbols and you will come up with a billion different lists of symbols in art. If you want reference to angels, you can also type in the word angels. But what I recommend is you type in simple line drawings of angels, and you'll find many of these to look at. I can also put up a picture on the big screen for those of you who want to copy an image. Any questions about what we're doing today? Think symbolically. I want you to only use your imagination today. No questions? Any questions?
I have a question, Liz. Why did you pick this particular painter?
Because we're in the darkest month of the year and the symbolist painters use a lot of light in their work. Particularly Gustave Moreau, he uses all of that light in the midst of very dark paintings. Does that help, Taranke?
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome, and I'm so glad you're here today.
I'm happy to be here.
Cool. Any other questions? Let's go to work. Those of you at home, I'll be checking in with you throughout the class. Those of you at here, I'll be around to bug you.
Looking forward to that. You will be bugged, but.
I know I will be bugged back by my naughty students coming around. Oh, first I'm going to put a picture up. I'll put up one of Moreau's paintings for those of you feeling really ambitious and you want to copy a Moreau. Alice, I know you have something you want to share with me. I'll be there in a sec. You might want to gather up your materials first while I do this. See if I can find a relatively simple Moreau to put up. That's probably impossible. Let's go with this one. Oh, did that wrong. So folks at home, I'm putting up a Moreau painting on the screen for those of you who may want to copy. This is a detail of a larger painting. There is a creepy monster going after this goddess who is sitting on top of a dragon. I guess the blue wings are on the dragon's back. All right. Do I want you to do a creepy picture? No, but I want you to try and think about symbols. It doesn't have to be a scary symbolic picture. If you're in a good, happy place, think of things that are happy for you. I hope you're in a good, happy place. Okay, here come the angel pictures for those of you here. And a list of universal symbols. Let me put it down yourselves.
Going back to the Middle East.
Her face is really different. It has quite an irregular face. If you're not, if that's important,
I like that it goes.
I would be very worried.
Yeah. It's kind of thing goes with it, because I know the stuff is kind of thing. It goes with routines.
And you should do, I would try to black mountains.
Soft.
I'll show you. You should do some of those. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what artists do. Like, I did this. As a teacher, Moreau did not impose his beliefs on his students. He would allow them to do whatever they wanted.
Yeah, it's such a crazy. Oh. That's crazy fun.
I don't know if anybody heard that, but
Who died?
Moreau allowed his students to do whatever they wanted. He wanted them to evolve and grow and play.
Yeah.
And he was apparently such an excellent teacher
Thank you.
that people would come back to his classes all the time. Yeah, that's. I never.
Oh, you did.
You did.
Oh, this one. Maybe I should have made that. You don't like it? That's what I whole thing.
I don't know.
It was realistic. What can be told? Be told to you. Get patterns on it. I think it's the
Center and law makes.
Well, he was like the old. They put this detail kind of also, it's like money on top of it. I was at the market in Wally, that was that I was. plates, they gave plates, paper plates, they gave popularity, just had to put the design, linking design around it, another inner linking design, and another little squares or something. And then they put the picture of a little elephant or something beside it. Easy to realize it's a show. One little thing, and you stamp an elephant on it, with black lines on the out, black on the. Painted with gray. I think, black part, they just put the color. You see these patterns in the results, and they, it's just, it goes in their minds from the middle. The patterns, is every culture. This is symbol of now power. Personified as the female goddess. Owls are a symbol of wisdom. Apples, five of the apples. Lemons are a symbol of wealth, abundance, and lemons represented the sense of mercy. Grapes. Grapes symbolize famous film. Grapes. Orange. Grapes symbolize drunkenness, luxury, joy, abundance, and prosperity. Yeah. Pomegranates symbolize fertility and intimacy. Cherry blossom. Yeah. Very popular stuff. Cherry blossom. Roses. Roses. Egypt symbolize Cleopatra and Catherine. Just look at the I probably met your own butterflies. Oh, you traced it? Yeah, I did. Oh, you're a cheater. Cheater. In Mexican culture, the spirit of the dead. Mexican culture, butterflies are the spirit of the dead. They are. Which chapter is the wonderful. Yeah, that's and on that, they don't do it. Yeah, it's called something else. So what it used to be has to be. So it's kind of gone. It's really gone. Kind of. Don't have any ideas, I'm here to help. Or paper towels. Use brushes. Yes. You know how to do it. You got this. Starting. Think about trees. Yes, it's- Cheating is good. There is no cheating. What do you mean cheating? You want to tell me what you think? I will tell her, I won't tell her.
There is a cheating in the art, they call it AI.
That's not, it's a new media.
But it's still cheating. Because there's no.
Another good one. Did you project the image on the papers? How did you cheat? You copied it, right? The trade. Tracing is the way to do it. You can see through. That's difficult.
Folks at home, we are good? Taranke, did you leave? Courtney, you just arrived. We are doing the symbolist artist Gustave Moreau. I don't know if you heard any of my talk about his work, but another artist who used light in an interesting way, used a lot of symbolism in his work.
Yeah, I got in about half an hour ago.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I haven't even started.
Nice. You have a composition. Whoa. Now that like I miss her.
It's okay. It's just that I haven't even started and just kind of look my ideas kind of thing.
I'm an art teacher. I can see where you're headed.
All right.
Yeah. Sally, this is fantastic, girl. No. Yes. No, it's who cares? It's a great drawing. Oh. Well. This is fine, just please watch it and dry it really well. They all turn into simplest painters. No way. So Taranke had difficulty with her connection. That's too bad. Folks at home, you're good. Like Stephanie had to leave also. Oh, I forgot to announce, next week, our class is on Thursday, January 25th, not Wednesday. I'll be sending an email about this. This room on Wednesday is being used for a big meeting. So class will be on Thursday, January 25th, not Wednesday, January 24th.
But same time. 10 to
Same time, 10 to 12 noon. And I will not be able to teach, so Bill, our friend Bill Curran, will be your teacher. And you've had him before. He's very experienced and very good, and he's gonna teach from my slideshow. Double checking on the calendar date. January 25th is Thursday. Gosh, I thought the slideshow was so long today, but we have a lot of time. Time to do more than one piece of art. Oh. Sure.
I told you that you would get one.
I like being surprised. Very nice.
No. Actually, I wanted to,
What do you mean?
whatever you think of.
Yes. I'll be able to tell the way you're gonna. No. No? Okay. Nice drawing, Nicola. That I have a few tips. I will draw it. that this morning. They did a piece on NPR. I don't think it's very- the fingers are slightly. Yeah, you can do, you don't even have to draw it, you can do it with me. That's what I'm. Yeah. Okay. I was snoring. Yeah.
Oh, it's in the house. If I like, you can spell it. Yeah, I like it better. Yeah. Black oil pastel as well, which would be very dramatic. Pencils you're gonna have to keep sharpening. Yes, I remember already. I remember. They'll wear down. I think that is right. Bright light on the, like maybe the face. Keep it bright. That's really sad. You get it on Etsy. Comment, a lady, that's a company named Afro. You don't remember, and Lily, did Lily turn you on to this? Yeah, it's the same company. Very nice. And cheap, right? It wasn't that cheap. This is great.
You good, Courtney, Susan, you good? Okay. I love when I can see the tips of your fingers, Susan. So cute. Oh, for those of you who are interested, I failed to mention Moreau died at the age of 72 in 1898 in Paris. In that townhouse that his parents built. But he had the perfect life, I think.
Well taken care of. Right?
Well taken care of.
I have that I collected when I was famous, and they're so nice, like for palettes.
Yeah.
Should I bring us there? I'll leave them.
Okay, thank you. Nicola brought some papers that we can use as palettes. I, for some reason, have been forgetting to bring plates every class. My mother used to say, Elizabeth, if your head wasn't attached, you'd forget that too. And she would be right.
Called you Elizabeth when she was
Angry. Yep. I always knew to do duck and cover when she called me Elizabeth. Run and hide. She had a certain way of saying it. Elizabeth? Like that. Oh. Blank. Blank. And said, go find somewhere to hide. So she wasn't the one who needed a punishment. The physical part, that was my father. He punished you too. Well, actually, my father only physically punished me once. He really took it out of my blood.
You were the naughty one.
We were all naughty, but my brother, I guess, felt he had permission to physically not be nice to you.
And
I think it's still needed to, considering now it's a lot of the kids now are getting ready. Not necessarily, it's only kind of an extreme measure. Like for example, my parents never beat me, but sometimes when you cross the line, sometimes it's flat. They get flat. And well, they kind of make you feel bad, but of course you learn. They kind of learn. Sometimes, how can I say, a bit painful. I know. Only in extreme conditions, like for example, if they almost hurt someone or did kind of like a huge disrespect. I mean, not all the time. I'm not saying that. How can I say is? I'm not saying that there's kind of something way or not, but sometimes when to put someone in this, kind of like you have to put them under sense, and a little bit of pain kind of is kind of like a way to reciprocate.
My son once when he crossed the road with that. He's not like to cross somebody else's cake. Actually, I didn't quite once he did.
Yeah, that's the other twice.
But that was not conscious thought, that was.
Yeah. Sex was necessary.
So bad.
Biting the finger?
No.
Oh, the finger on.
And I was so surprised that I rolled. Good job. Lee? You distracted me so much. You totally forgot the comment. Okay. Very nice. That's very nice.
Yeah.
Well, you might want to wait and let it dry.
Actually, I would think, right?
Well, it's terrific because it's gonna make her face really soft. You might want to let it dry. Is it meant to be a flame? This evolving. Very nice. Yeah.
We're supposed to be warm blooded. I know it. Game might be stronger.
Has to die.
Yeah.
Separated other. God says to allow them to come back. Yeah. Spring.
Seven, that's where I got it. Seven is the Greek.
Yeah.
Steroids is the wrong. part. You know, I wish I had been a Greek and I had Greek gods. I really wish I had that. Why? Makes a lot of sense. It's just fun. Oh, it's fun. And it makes a lot of sense.
Never too late.
And very funny to Trump taken. I nominate you for Hoganism. Go for it. Girl. You go, girl. I'm sure there's a pagan church. It's definitely a lot of witch covered.
Which you can, yeah, you can be wicked.
The Wiccan, that's
Wiccan.
plus the thing. That's the witch
Yeah.
religion.
I just love it. I love Wicked. That was my favorite. See it?
No.
Oh, you gotta see it. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Not a big.
Oh, well. Gravity, you know gravity?
Defines gravity. He defines everything. That is. The blend of the witch becomes friend the day of. Oh, what happened? The water? That's okay, that's okay.
Yeah. Very fast.
It's more Egyptian though.
I mean, what did you?
It's like it's just supposed to be over and then we see.
That's
What?
Did you see? That's not.
No, the seeds, you don't see the seeds looking at a thing.
Very burdened. His grandfather and his father were on the Disney bridge. On traditional religion, the father wanted to move back. It wasn't totally focused on.
No, I tried to summer. So he was probably.
They're so young and warm. Sounds like. But it announced all the
Like those women, those two women that were. I think. Yeah.
Have I shown you what else you can do with the oil? It's great.
Courtney and Susan, you hanging in?
Yep.
Fine line between interrupting and seeing if you need help. That's it. You guys are impressed. Time to start another one. Yeah. Now, wait, I'm gonna be right back. I want to show you some. Hey, Ryan.
This, I'm going to. Sally, what you doing?
Now, if you don't like this, you can clean it away. Oh, that's fine. This is what I did. Ask them. We need a paper.
No. That's okay.
There are a lot of angels, that's why I said you should look. If you want to
wipe the spots and use it up here. You can grab it.
That's terrific. Sometimes doing something very quickly and spontaneously is the best thing of all.
Spontaneous and quick. I see what your reasoning.
I have been teaching art for a few years. Sometimes I
Don't
know.
be so meticulous, go for it.
Yeah, sometimes just getting it down. Spontaneously.
It makes sense to me, I used to say,
Yeah, she says, don't
well, on
dwell on it.
yes, do
Don't be, don't be a perfectionist.
I used to be that way.
Tomorrow I'm being hired by a corporate lady. An hour to show your soul, and sell your soul. I'm doing, trying on the right side of the brain. She wants to unlock her creativity.
Are you
So
doing
we're gonna do line contour.
one to one?
Yeah, one on one.
She's lucky. She has you alone.
Yes, yeah.
We work is immeasurable.
I'll bring you some my faithful side. I hope she will. How this working out. Starting a new business. A lot of anxiety. Yes, creativity. And I have to do all that in an hour. We shall see. Water, brilliant. It's finished. Nice brown. That's it. Oh, no, it's not water. You do it with this or with water? You can also go over it with water, and then it won't smear. Very special gloves. It's sometimes what people do. Very nice. Really, those angelic. Is everybody? Classroom.
I think. And in my school years, since I live in Florida, we got kind of like open field schools, and most of the time they would build one. There was something very and just in case if you heard the news, don't worry, my parents are fine. Okay?
You told me last week they were.
Yeah.
Is it getting better there or?
Well, let's say that after the incident from last week, that now it was, at the moment, they put in a big emergency that there is kind of like curfews from 11 p.m. to 5. Well, with the whole military and the police, it's just checking for me.
Yes, but then I I heard on NPR that now that they're using the military.
Well,
Gotten a little.
yeah, well, it's that, well, there was some kind of like business. The incident that happened last week, it was kind of like one of the few that many happened. When I say enough, is enough. Oh yeah, the thing that I was gonna say, it was related to this because I had a kind of like a funny English early on. And I told you that we're open, my school had kind of like open to you. Some type of building one. So I was one incident that was funny enough that I was walking around, you know, going to the forest, and I was with a friend this time. I'm over that. I said, what was it? For our next class. And then out of the blue, I said, one of them was the top of the tree. You know, my friend.
He was scared.
It was next to me.
You let out a scream.
So of course, it was kind of like shocking and hilarious. I'll never forget that.
They can bite too.
Oh, yeah, they can. And sometimes they can sever their tails or defend.
Yes, they drop their tails. Wanda drops her tail.
You never talk to Ryan?
But don't worry, and it is a paper method, but they regrow.
Oh my gosh, guys, we gotta clean up. Sorry, I have not been watching the clock. It does not look like we're gonna have time to share. Yikes.
I'm sorry, folks at home. It doesn't look like we're gonna have time to share. Please send me JPEGs. Okay? I was so absorbed. It's too bad. People have created really gorgeous stuff today. Don't forget, next week's class is on Thursday, the 25th, not Wednesday, the 24th. I will be sending out an email to remind everyone. Yes, Donna. It's changed from next Wednesday to next Thursday. So don't come here next Wednesday. There's going to be a big meeting in here.
Tuesday, Thursday?
The Tuesday class is still the same. Just this class has changed from Wednesday to Thursday, next week only.
Excuse me 1 minute. I want to see the hat. Absolutely.
Two special things are going to be the same day on my next week. Because the 23rd is both my sister's birthday and my parents' anniversary.
Japanese will go on, but you do a Zoom celebration.
But I think that
Big part. Well, I'm not thinking like in general. They were still. They will never forget your sister's birthday.
that is true.
Maya, Donna, sorry, we have to clean up. You're late. Very interesting. I saw it online. I'll take a photo. She's my friend. We're good. Together. She had a bad connection with it. Bring it on Tuesday. Great. I'm so proud.
We took the bite out of the apple.
I love that you're watching progressions. Go one step further. Back in the past.
Lighter, baby. Like a lizard angel. Like the radiant waves, it reminds me of the radiant waves.
Well,
Isn't there a FMU, was there an old sim FMU with a pyramid and then the radio waves coming out of it?
I know, I think there was kind of, movie production that had but I didn't know.
You're like a radio guy, you like, you mind your radio.
Well, not radio, but you know, it's full of like, very good political, kind of political stuff.
Yes, yes.
Called,
Illuminati, no, you like a radio. Well, I like, you know, sometimes.
Why is nothing up its water?
Yeah, I did not.
Oh, okay. It's yours. It's
We don't have time to share.
yours.
No, we're great.
I think we've finished.
All right, folks at home. Not a problem. Folks at home, we do have a few more minutes, and obviously you can keep working if you so wish. I'm so sorry. Again, I will not see you next week, which is breaking my heart, but you will have Bill Kern as your teacher. He is awesome, awesome, awesome. He will be teaching the lesson that I have planned. And I will see you the following week. Is next week the last week of January? Is that possible?
Maybe it's the next last.
Right, will be the next to last class of January. I will be with you for the final week in January 31st. So, ciao for now, ciao bella, as they say in Italy, and have a wonderful weekend, everyone. I will miss you, but see you soon. Bye-bye. Art on. Thank you to the Hoboken Library. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Stay warm. Bundle up.
if you investigate, it is